Welcome to Auntie K's, your favorite radical queer indigenous auntie, bringing you tarot every day. Hello everyone and welcome to Auntie K's Tarot. So today is going to be another decks on the table. We're going to look at what's coming up and what is going on, and we're going to talk about each of them. Okay, so Tarot Neo-Colonial Villa Americas. For me, it can be difficult to read this deck without a political commentary, but I did use it for clients for a few weeks, and then it sort of sat on my top shelf on the deck, which is kind of like being at the back. It was great for doing some political readings, and it was really nice to use this deck, which I find has a lot of great commentary and is a really fun read. The cards are very easily identifiable, and I just find this deck brilliant in a lot of ways. And the backs are super fun. We got some that are upside down. So, and the backs of this deck are also super fun, very brilliant. But I was using it less for work reads, and so it came off the table. The Metanoia Marseille. This deck's so pretty. It's just lovely, right? It's a beautiful deck. And so I keep putting it on the table, hoping that I'm going to use it more. It is mildly diverse. It's one of my least diverse decks, and that's an aspect of it getting less play. I do really like the size of it. It doesn't shuffle great because it's a matte deck. That impacts it. And that it needs some cornstarch, as does Grandma Baby Apothecary's Black and Gold Lenormand. I've cornstarched this before, and that was a great solution. Both these decks need cornstarch. That will make this one used more. This one, I don't know. I keep wanting to use it because it's pretty, but then it doesn't get so much play in the end. The Tarot of Life. I brought this one out and I used it heavily. It's a brilliant read. It's easy to read. The images are lovely. There's a fair bit of facial expression or body expression. This card is such a brilliant way to create an image in your mind. I really enjoyed this deck. It got the most play of the decks on the table that weren't my own. And I'm really glad I brought it back out, and I'm probably going to bring it out more frequently. Because I really did enjoy it. But it's time for some new decks on the table. This has incense on the box, but the box is really shiny and beautiful. This is the Untamed Mysteries Tarot, which in the past I've just used for myself and then used the guidebook. It's a gorgeous deck. They're plastic cards. But I use this for clients, and the skulls and skeletons and eyeballs they really jumped out as symbolism in readings that I was doing, in connecting the dots of what was going on for a client. Some of the cards have a way more positive take than they classically have, and that doesn't work for me. This is one of them. You're supposed to see the bird is triumphed and is on top of the skeleton. I don't read it that way. I read it as a bird has landed on top of a skull that's been picked clean, and that's how badly you were 10 of swords. Because that just makes a whole lot more sense. This cup is gorgeous with these skulls bobbing out. It's a really beautiful deck. I did not use as much as the Tarot of Life, but I most certainly used it. In telling myself, hey, I want to work with decks other than my Lenormands, most of which I'm using the same Lenormands, I have been using my tarot cards about 50% of the time instead of about 20% of the time over Lenormand. My decks remained on the table, so that's not a surprise. And I obviously very frequently use them. You know, the Metanoia had to go up against my own Marseille, and that's really difficult. It's really difficult. I use this deck a lot in work readings, and I use this deck for most of my Lenormand readings. And to give another deck a chance, it's headed to the back portion of my table, and I've brought out The Precious Possums by Lark and Legend. And this is a charming deck, and I did the switch up on my table yesterday, and I put this in front and did use this deck for the vast number of my Lenormand readings yesterday, which was really fun. I really wanted some winter-themed decks, but they're either all very Christmas or very white, and that was a thing. The Decolonial Tarot, not decolonial, but it is very charming. It's like an unapologetically brown indigenous Disney, and that fits the bill for me. And I used this deck quite a bit yesterday. I do like the read of this deck. I'm over the name. It's Brown Disney. It's not very decolonial at all, but it is an unapologetically brown deck. And I do enjoy it for that. I brought out the Sassorabito. I coveted this deck. I wanted this deck. Here's the card I hate. I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't like this even as a court card because it doesn't tell me anything. I want something going on in my card to tell me about the character, personality, something. That card just gives me nothing. So I did use this deck. I did enjoy it. The Devil card did not come up, which was lovely, because the rest of this deck is so fabulous. I don't know why the Devil is the most boring, nondescript card in the whole deck with absolutely nothing going on. I don't get it. but the rest of this deck is so great. So I did use this deck, and I enjoyed being able to read a deck that I really wanted and then have barely used. So it was nice to use it. I wish I had a different devil card. Wish there was something like I could do about it, or I don't know. But it just feels like there's nothing there to work with it. It's the most boring card ever. The Eight of Swords came up twice. It's such a brilliant card. I really like it. I don't know if we passed it. Anyway, someone cutting off their hair is very expressive. It's an expressive deck. A very expressive, there it is, deck. So I don't get the devil card. The African Tizama Tarot, one of my faves, even though it's matte and hard to shuffle. So this is up here, and it's of course being used. This deck is just amazing. Amazing. The Tarot Serena, for me, is stuck in the mail because there's a postal strike up here. And I don't know when I'm getting it. So it seemed like a good idea to freshen up the decks on my table and enjoy what I have while I wait. I have 2 Kickstarter decks. I'm waiting on the Tarot Serena by Mr. Freiburg and the Craft Felt Tarot. It's not due to ship till January, February. So we'll see what and how it ships. And I brought out the Gay Marseille, which probably has some of the best tarot backs. I do really enjoy this deck. I used it to start off my day yesterday, and it told me to go have a good talk with my spirit guides before I got started, so I did, and it was lovely. This deck's really expressive. It's a Gay Marseille, so gay symbology look is front and center. So I enjoyed reading with it yesterday. There are times where the overt imagery, political imagery in this deck has the same impact for me as the Tarot Neo-Colonial de la Americas, where I find that imagery distracting when it doesn't actually fit the reading. Because, like, it's not like I just saved this deck for a client that I think or know is gay. I use this deck when I want to use it. It is definitely a good deck, as are some of my others, to pull out if I do know the client is gay. But I just use this regardless. Most of my clients don't see the deck. I see it, but there's sometimes where I'm very distracted. But I really enjoy this deck and used it also. All right. We can add more categories at work as to what we read. So I pulled out some of my Oracle decks and said, yep, I can do Oracle readings, folks. So I pulled out some of my Oracle decks. I do have on the front of my table the Evil Eye Oracle, which I mostly use for work, for work readings. The Fortune Cookies Oracle, which I generally use in a general reading, and the Wild Witch Oracle just sitting here right where I can grab it. I haven't really gotten one come up, but there it is. So I did pull these out for that purpose. Just to be able to do that. Sometimes I throw an oracle on at the end of someone's reading if it seems fitting. Journey. So everybody go off, have a good journey today. Journey with the decks you have. Pull out decks you don't use all that much or wish you used more, and give them a fair shot and see how you feel about them. Who knows, you might end up remembering that one of your decks is a bit of a fave and you forgot all about it. See you later, folks.